Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this episode 3696 AN. Today's date is July 28th, 2025, and the title of the episode is Trump Restructuring the Fed Quietly Without Removing Powell. Gold, a Flight to Safety. Let's talk about protecting our wealth. Presenting My Digital Money, where retirement grows and stays safe. Experts say you'll need $4 million to retire comfortably, and with inflation rising fast, even $100,000 a year is now considered low income according to MIT. So how do you get there? Bitcoin may be the answer. It's already surged past $111,000, and top analysts say it could reach $300,000 to $1.5 million by 2030. That's the kind of growth that can turn $100,000 into $1 million in 5 years. But don't just grow your assets, protect them. With My Digital Money Crypto IRA, your Bitcoin grows tax-free and is secured in military-grade, military signature cold storage, keeping your assets safe from online security threats. Even better, your holdings are segregated from business operations, so there's no commingling and you never are treated as an unsecured creditor, unlike other platforms. Go to mydigitalmoney.com to get started. Grow it, guard it, own your future. Or just click the link in the description. Let's get right into the economic collapse financial news. Now, the deep state, the corrupt politicians, the private West Central Bank, the World Economic Forum, you could see they are in a deep panic right now because Trump and the Patriots, what are they doing? They're changing the trade system around the world. And the central bank and the deep state players, they're just watching it happen right in front of them. And there's nothing that they can do to stop it. And you can see the EU just folded. We mentioned this yesterday. And now Trump has the upper hand, which means Canada is going to be following along, and the last country will be China. Yes, there's going to be many, many other countries that will actually end up negotiating with the United States. And when you really start to look at this, you could see that Trump is now prepping the United States and the people of this country to take back everything that the central bank, the deep state players have stolen from us. And you could see with all these tariffs, with all this money coming in, he's making the deep state players pay the price, which means they are now returning the money that they've stole to the American people for a very, very long time. And I do believe that this is the message that he's sending around the world. And you can see the deep state players, the central bankers, they're having a very difficult time stopping him because they can't. He has the leverage. He has the control. And there's nothing that they can do to stop him. And you can see every step of the way he's hitting the Fed chairman over the head over and over and over, showing the people that the Fed really has no idea what they're doing. The Fed is dishonest, that we really don't need the Fed. And if you really look at this, very, very quietly, what he's really doing is he's restructuring the entire Federal Reserve System. Just like Doge went ahead and removed and reported on the money laundering, the fake programs that they were creating to spend the money and then launder the money. He's doing the same thing with the Fed right now. And this is why he's continually calling out Jerome Powell over and over and over, because he wants the people to understand. He wants the people to understand that they really have no idea what they're doing, that they can't even manage their own renovation. And Mark Paletta pretty much let Jerome Powell and the rest of the Fed have it. He said, Jerome Powell dishonesty alert. Here's why Senator Tim Scott, Russ Vought, James Blair, and his NCPC colleagues are right to be investigating Jerome Powell's Taj Mahal. In his July 17th letter to the OMB, Director Vought, Powell claims there are no VIP dining rooms being constructed whatsoever. Powell absurdly claims that there will be conference rooms used for mealtime meetings. Powell's response is dishonest. In the Federal Reserve's final approval plans for its headquarter building renovation project, the FRB states the following: the private dining rooms on level 4 will be restored. The historically significant level 4 lounge and adjoining executive dining rooms, the governor's private elevator will be extended to discharge at the dining suite level. On page 58, the floor design for the fourth floor for the Eccles has rooms clearly labeled dining room. Conveniently, there also happens to be a pantry near the dining rooms. There are no rooms labeled as conference rooms on the fourth floor of Eccles. Why is Jerome Powell being dishonest about this? This is why Senator Scott, OMB Director Vought, James Blair, and his NCPC colleagues are right to investigate. This Thursday, President Trump and our nation's greatest developer paid a visit to the FRB construction site and saw firsthand Powell's mismanagement of this project. Trump is providing superb leadership to bring attention to Jerome Powell's massive cost overruns for the Taj Mahal project. And right there, Trump, when he was visiting the Federal Reserve, he called Jerome Powell out on all of this. And now we can see his administration, they're going through all the documents and they're showing that, yeah, if the Fed lied about this and he lied about this to Congress, what else are they lying about? If they actually can't manage their own renovation, how are they managing this entire country? Trump now is building the narrative to let everyone know that the Fed never worked in the best interest of the American people. That wasn't its goal. Its goal was to prop up the deep state, to prop up the central bank, to prop up the elite, to take control of this country and other countries around the world and tax the people into oblivion and tax people with their hidden tax, which is called inflation, so they have to work harder and harder every single day. And you can see the deep state players, and even the fake news, they don't like what Trump is doing right now. Remember, Trump is now benefiting the United States. He's bringing in billions upon billions of dollars with his tariff deals. And Axios put out an article, said in the Trump-dominated global economy, the U.S. gets plenty but gives nothing in return. Why should we be worried about other countries? They should be worried about themselves. Actually, for many, many years, they've been taking from the United States. So why is Axios now sticking up for other countries? They should be sticking up for the United States, saying, listen, no, we're looking out for ourselves. We're not looking out for the EU or Canada and trying to make them do better. Why would we do that? It makes no sense whatsoever. They're really upset that Trump is now winning. Sean Davis responds and says, look how mad they are about America winning. And that's exactly right. And you can see with the Eurozone deal, the Eurozone's closed markets will now be open. American goods can now be sold anywhere in the Eurozone at zero tariff. No reciprocal tariffs. Remember, their entire market was closed to the American products. Why? Because that was their entire scam. This is what they were trying to do from the very, very beginning because they didn't want America to succeed. Everything was put into place to actually destroy this country. And now as Trump is reversing this and he's bringing the money back to the country and allowing the products to be sold across the globe, what do you think is going to happen to America? Actually, people are going to see this country thrive like it's never thrived before. And people are going to start to realize that, wait a minute, this country is absolutely incredible. They kept us back all these years. They didn't want this country to succeed. Remember, without the central bank, without the globalist system, without the deep state players, let me ask you a question. Are you looking to shed some pounds for this summer? Well, a recent study found nearly half of patients following popular weight loss trends quit within a year, often used lower than prescribed doses and ultimately lost less weight than they were led to believe. This is why I use this secret amazing new product, and I'm obsessed with the results. It is designed to naturally support my body's own GLP-1 production and boost levels by over 50% without drugs, prescriptions, or needles. It promotes the feeling of fullness, reduced cravings, reduced my hunger hormones, helps me lose fat instead of muscle, and supports healthy blood sugar levels. Summer is here. It's time to get that beach body ready. Grab yourself a bottle of GLP-1 now to save up to 44% only at trimwithx22.com. Plus, you also get 2 free ebooks titled The 3-Week Diet and 53 Fat-Burning Smoothies and Milkshakes. Once again, this offer is only available at trimwithx22.com. That is trimwithx22.com, or just click the link in the description. This country would be light years ahead of where we are today. And most likely, the poverty that we know today and the cities the way they look today, that would be a thing of the past. But they never wanted anyone to see this. They never wanted anyone to experience this. They kept this country down. And now Trump is releasing it so the people of this country can understand how great this country really is. And every step of the way, what is Trump doing? He is changing the Fed and restructuring the Fed very, very quietly and slowly without even firing Powell. Because think about what he's done. He's brought everyone's attention to the Federal Reserve. And there are major sweeping changes that are coming to the central bank. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said last week, and he made this very clear, that Trump administration intends to shake up the Federal Reserve, just as it is done with the rest of the federal government. What do you think he really means by shake it up? Because actually, if you look at the rest of the federal government, Trump shook it up, and what happened? Oh, he closed agencies. He removed people who worked in those agencies. So what do you think he's going to do to the Federal Reserve? He's going to basically do the same exact thing. I do believe it's going to be restructured right into the Treasury. And I do believe he's setting it up and preparing for all of this. And this is going to be absolutely amazing as this happens. Because, again, you could see the deep state players, the central bankers, are trying to keep Powell in this position. And it looks like there's already rumors out there saying the central bank is not going to lower the rate this time around. They're now looking at September. But once again, I do believe that the Federal Reserve, they're looking for this event. And most likely, they're probably hoping that something would happen this August leading into September so they don't have to actually lower the rate. But I don't think it's going to work out the way they think it's going to work out. And the event is not going to destroy the economy. Because remember, Trump and the Patriots, they're building an alternative economy. And it'll be very, very easy to actually use the alternative economy as a hedge against something that they might try to do. And think about all the things that Bessent has said so far. He said, okay, what we need to do is we need to review what the Federal Reserve actually does. Trump is going to shake up the Federal Reserve just like he did with the rest of the government. And Bessent continually says that we need to understand what's going on. I mean, they already discovered the 14 computers that just sent money out of thin air to all different places. They pretty much shut all of those down, and they're monitoring all these systems. So I do believe in the end, they're going to actually restructure the entire thing. It's happening right now. And it doesn't matter if Powell stays, doesn't matter if Powell goes. Trump now is taking full control of the situation. And in the end, the Federal Reserve, they won't be calling any shots whatsoever. Trump and the Patriots will. And you can see as we go through all of this, what do you think is going to happen with the alternative currencies? We already see Bitcoin right now. It hit a high of, over 120,000, a little bit over that. And now it's back to like 118 or so. But I do believe that, it might drop a little bit, but I do believe it's going to make higher highs as we move forward. The same thing with gold right now. Remember, gold is manipulated by the Federal Reserve. They created a paper market so they can control it. But I do believe they're going to be losing control. And what's very interesting is that the people of this country, they realize that gold is a flight to safety. And what's very interesting is Reuters did a poll. The global trade and fiscal debt concerns are feeding into a flight to safer assets, sharpening gold's edge as a haven from risk. The poll of 40 analysts and traders returned a median forecast of $3,220 per ounce of gold for this year, up from $3,065 predicted in a poll 3 months ago. The 2026 estimate rose to $3,400 from $3,000. Spot gold prices are up 27% so far this year after hitting a record $33,500 per ounce in April, with the U.S. and China in the midst of a full-blown trade war. And David Russell at Goldcore said, what we're seeing, it's a signal. And he's calling for a $4,000 target by the end of 2026, which I wouldn't be surprised. But I do believe when the manipulation is completely pulled back and Trump restructures the Fed, we're going to see gold prices really start to take off. Because once Trump and the Patriots take full control of the system and remove the control from the deep state players, the central bankers, this is when you start to see everything change. And I do believe that's exactly what we're going to see. And you think about it, Trump from the very, very beginning, he's put all the pieces into place. Remember, in the very, very beginning, people were very, very worried. The fake news, the economists, and the Fed, they all said the entire system is just going to implode on itself. You're going to see inflation. It's going to get wildly out of control, and people won't be able to afford or live. All of that has been fake. Because you have to remember, these people, they've been lying to you since the very, very beginning, and they're going to continue to lie along the way because they're trying to stop Trump from doing all of this. They don't want you to see it. They don't want you to understand that the Federal Reserve has been keeping every single person in this country back, and not just in this country, but around the world. Because once you experience an economy that benefits you, you're never going to ever listen to these people ever again. And what's very interesting with everything that Trump is doing, it looks like he is now making the deep state, the central bankers, pay for all the money that they have taken from this country. Clandestine says the following: I think Trump's favorable trade deals are the mechanism for nations to pay us back for all the money they have been stealing from us under prior management. The U.S. taxpayer was subsidizing corrupt leaders around the world for decades. I think Trump is making them pay us back. Miller claims today that we are taking advantage of no more. Trump has been claiming for years that we have been getting screwed over in these trade deals, and now he's making them return the diamonds. And he's absolutely correct. And I do believe as Trump's system builds up and he brings in more and more currency from around the world, he's actually putting it right in front of the deep state, the central banker's face, saying, look, I'm showing the people. I'm pulling back your curtain. I'm showing the people what a true economy actually is. And I'm going to make them feel what they've been missing this entire time. And there's nothing that you can do to stop it. You can try all your events. You can try everything. But the people, in the end, they're going to understand. And once they understand, it is game over for the private West Central Bank. Because you have to remember, once the people know that the central bank doesn't work for we the people, that it's enslaved us, that it has stolen our wealth, they're never, ever going to want to go back to that system. And this is what Trump does. If you go back from the very, very beginning, sometimes he needs to show the people so the people understand. He could tell them, he can explain it to them, but unless you see it, unless you understand it, you don't really get it. And I think that's what he's been doing this entire time, especially with the Federal Reserve. I mean, think about it. During Biden's time in the White House, he showed you, look how they can create inflation. Look what happens when inflation happens. Your value of your currency declines. Bitcoin is a hedge against it. Gold is a hedge against it. And a lot of people started to realize this is why Costco started to go to sell these gold bars and sell a lot of them. This is why more and more people got into Bitcoin, because they started to realize what was going on. And then Trump showed everyone, yeah, raising the rates, lowering the rates, that's not how you get rid of inflation. I can control inflation. This is what he was telling the people. With energy, I can control the inflation by not spending. I can actually bring in currency to combat the inflation. We can't make inflation go away unless we get rid of the central bank system and we pay off the debt and we basically remove the currency that's already floating around. And I do believe this is what Trump has shown everyone during the Biden administration. Now he's showing you that the Federal Reserve was the cause of all this, that they really have no idea what they're doing. They're the problem. They're taking your internal wealth. We don't have to fund the government internally. We can fund it externally. This is what he's showing everyone, because he needs the people behind him for when he actually goes in for the kill, when he actually goes in and basically shuts down the entire system that was put into place back in 1913. And in 1971, we came off the gold standard, which gave them even more control. 2008, when we went into the Great Recession, they got full control of the entire system. And now Trump is reversing everything that they have done. It's just a matter of time until the people see the true economy. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.